Good afternoon and welcome to St. Thomas Aquinas and Falcon Field for a day's soccer game between the Falcons of St. Thomas Aquinas and the Rebels of Pearl River. Falcons in white today with the white socks, and the Rebels in the red and black with the red socks. Announcing today's game will be myself, John Moore, and on my side here, Ron Macaluso.
This game is being played on January 23rd, I believe, Saturday, and it's kind of overcast, surprisingly chilly, and some wind.
Yeah, it has gotten quite cool out here today, Ron.
John, if the fans that are watching on TV can see the wind blowing the Super Falcon flag out there, they'll notice there's a kind of a brisk breeze, and at the moment, the breeze is favoring St. Thomas. Let's see if it becomes a factor in the first half.
Well, let's hope it does. I know we were talking beforehand that looking at the weather report this morning on the Weather Channel that it was like 50 degrees in Baton Rouge, but the wind chill was down in the 30s. So it's a little chilly out here today because of the breeze, and I guess because of the storm that came through yesterday.
Well, this is a district game, and it's another important game for St. Thomas. They come in today at 12-4-2, and in district, and this is a district game, they 1 win, no losses, and 1 tie. And Pearl River, the Rebels, are at 6-9-2, and they're 0-2 in the district. And to bring our fans up to date as to what's happened since the last televised game, which was the Pope John Paul game that ended in a tie, the Falcons played just the other night against Independence and won that game, but it was a very difficult, tough game, and much credit goes to Independence. In fact, at halftime, Independence was leading the Falcons 1-0. Pearl River, I think, has lost to Pope John Paul their last game, if I'm not mistaken. In any event, it's a very important game for both teams.
Absolutely, absolutely. Falcons with the throw-in. The Falcons playing Wednesday night against Independence was a real exciting game. Independence had a 1-0 lead going into halftime, and then the Falcons were able to come out in the second half, put together a little bit of action, and turn the entire complexion of the game, and ended up winning. I believe it was 5-1 with Carl Gumpert, the leading scorer, getting another hat trick, getting 3 goals in the game. So the game turned out to be quite exciting after the beginning, and a little easier maybe on the ending. But
and just coincidentally, Independence is playing Pope John Paul right as we speak. And I think all of the Falcon fans, not only for their own self-interest, but because of the other team being in the district, Independence, we're pulling for Independence to win that game, because right now the Falcons and Pope John Paul are tied at the top of the district, and we would like Independence to help us out a little bit by giving Pope John Paul a loss.
And I know Independence would like to do that.
Absolutely, and they're good enough to do it. So we want to say compliments to the Independence team and compliments to the fans and the parents, because Independence is a very good team this year. And I want to tell you, I really thought we got lucky in winning putting as many goals in, because if you were there watching the game, the way the game was played was really not reflected as far as the scoreboard.
Falcons are working onto the defense right now, Ron. It don't look real sharp right now getting started. I guess they're a little cold themselves, and Pearl River's getting it started. Shot in toward Bobby.
Good catch.
And clear out to the far side toward Horgan, but a little too far for trying.
You know, we have Daniel Evans is now started, and that's the first time this season I think Daniel started, although he played a lot in the Independence game. Okay, we got a little push going here.
That's Jaime with the ball, trying to get down the left side, and the shot is in, and beautiful stop by the goalie, and then Carl Gumpert tries to put it in and just misses. It was a very, very fine stop by that goalie on that shot by Jaime Pinnell's the coach's son. Jaime, first year with St. Thomas, has been a very, very added attraction to the team, and very needed after losing Roger Roldan out of that spot last year.
Carl Gumpert's been the mainstay as the goal scorer for this team, and it's good to see somebody else step up and help him, because Carl ends up being the focus of the defense anytime we're out on the field, and any help he can get from any other offensive player just allows Carl a little bit more latitude. And Jaime did a great job against Independence. He scored 2 goals in that game.
That's what I was going to say. That when you can get a little help like that, it gives a little relaxation, and they can't start all of just clowning down on Carl and double teaming him and triple teaming him. Corner kick for the Falcons, taken by Christopher Burns, and off Carl's head, but just a little wide of the box. Be a goal kick for the Rebels. First little bit of real strong action from the Falcons there.
Well, for the fans that are watching on TV, and you look in the Falcon stadium and you see very few people here today, it's because the weather is really kind of harsh today. The Falcons are blessed with a very strong following. They're just off a little bit today. Must be the weather.
Absolutely. They're getting warmed up. I think they moved the ball pretty good. They're starting to get that roll. The passes are starting to go together. It's just they've also got the wind behind them, and when you got the wind blowing as hard as it is out there, because you look at the flag again, it has a tendency to push that ball a little farther when they try to send one like they just did to Chris Wong down the side. Not quite the crowd that we had last week when Pope John Paul was here, but there's a few folks over there.
It's good to see Jacques back on the field, number 7, Jacques Smith. He's been kind of walking wounded for the last couple of weeks. The swelling is still there in his ankle, but it looked a lot better before the game.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing. I know at the end of the game last Saturday that he hurt his ankle and came out of the game, but then I heard that...
Oh, John, that was close, and Carl was set up there just a little bit on the wrong angle on that one. But that was a good, very good pass. It looked like he knew exactly where he wanted to send it. It looked like Carl just didn't have his face toward the opening of the goal enough.
Just missed. That's another one. They're going to come, though. If they keep shooting like that, they'll eventually get them in there. Tryon Horgan on the far side. Number 5, one of the sophomores on the team, came on real strong last year as a freshman.
That was number 17, Brandon Shansback, with that kick. That's Daniel Evans going to Carl. Carl's trying to turn it here.
Out to that Macaluso boy, huh?
Yep, he looks a little familiar.
It's good to have Daniel back playing again. I know after the Independence game, he played such a good game, was named the defensive player of the game for that.
That's outstanding, coming back from an injury and really not having much playing time.
No, he hasn't. He's been only playing 10 or so minutes in some of the games, and it takes a little time to build up your stamina when, he hasn't been able to practice with the team very much this year because of that injury, and it takes time for those to heal.
Oh, that was
another
good.
one by Carl.
That's good.
Like I say, if they keep that up, they'll start to get them. Carl will get the range. The passes are coming in real well, real good for them, and those things are going to happen. Goal kick again. Kick directly out of bounds, so the Falcons will get a throw in on the far side. Into Daniel.
Brandon Shansback. It's on a pass back, trying to keep control up. Looks like the Rebels have it here. Jacques Smith using his speed, turning the corner.
That was a good play by Jock and Sam to get back and get everything protected back in the back.
Well, we're going to see if the Rebels can hold their own in this district. They find themselves in a very unfortunate position of playing soccer this year when the rest of the district has exceptional teams.
They've Pearl River, as we talked earlier, was never the soccer power over. They always had good football, and originally they used to just use it to run their football players through the winter months, and they'd have one or two players that had any abilities. And the last couple of years they've picked it up and they've really turned it around, and it's been close games. But I think the last year, earlier this year, we played over in a tournament over in their area, and I think they're back to some of that football type mentality again.
Brandon Shan's back on a throw in, but it was just a little bit too high.
Falcons and the Rebels have played about 12 minutes of the game so far out of the 40-minute first half.
That's Chris Wong, number 1.
It's good to see Chris moved back up to the front, too.
Yeah.
He was a good mainstay in the defense and really helped. Now that Daniel's back, having Chris up in the midfield position and on the front when
good passing
really
good
helps
passing.
out. Really helps out.
Absolutely, John. You know, the team was playing pretty well, but we really didn't realize, oh, that was a good try. That was a good try. Perhaps the wind got a little bit of that one.
Looked like so.
But I think we realize now that Daniel's back how much we missed him. He really is the mainstay of the defense. He's kind of the quarterback out there for the defense in addition to Bobby Moore and goalie. But when they're playing the midfield area, that's really where Daniel shows his maturity and his leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely. He was sorely missed. Chris did an outstanding job, and as I said, some people questioned having Chris in that fullback position, but it certainly did help. Nathan Hamilton going in the game right now for Jaime Pinnell, and Chris Wong tries to throw it in right away to Nathan to get a shot at, but just a little bit. It went off the Pearl River player, and the Falcons will get a corner kick out of it. Corner kick is what hurt us against Pope John Paul last week, as they scored in that last minute and a half of the game off the corner kick. So let's see if we can do the same thing today. Almost.
There we go.
Well, a lot of action right there. The ball came out to Daniel, and he took a good, strong shot, but must have hit somebody in the head because it took off, and the goalie was diving one direction, and the ball was going the other this time.
As chilly as it is out there, I wouldn't want to be stopping that ball. It's got to have a little sting. In any event, we get a corner kick from the other side now.
And out to Nathan from Christopher Burns, and right over the top of the goal.
Well, while we have a little break in the action here, let's say our first half broadcast sponsors are Garian Insurance, the North Lake Insurance Group. Charles and John Garian have been providing all types of insurance, whether it's for your home, business, boat, automobile, or personal liability. They have offices in downtown Hammond, and please consider Garian Insurance for all your insurance needs. Oh, that was a swing and a miss. Also, Jim Meyer Construction. Jimmy Meyer and Ronnie Fugarina are builders of quality homes and businesses. Whether it's new construction or an addition or extensive remodeling, they can handle the job. Jim Meyer Construction.
And last, Ron Macaluso, attorney at law. We know him. Ron Macaluso handles personal injury, criminal defense, and general litigation with offices on North Cape and downtown Hammond. That's Ron Macaluso, attorney at law, and my partner here today. And we do appreciate your help and your support there, Ron.
Well, thanks a lot.
Falcons here trying to do something.
Oh, look at that. That was setting up to be a pretty play.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was going to get around and try and could get a header, but the Rebel had got his head in there.
Tryon is Tryon Horgan, and he has really come forward this year. He's always been a good player, but he really brings an added sense of leadership and maturity to the team. Quite frankly, this is a very good soccer team.
It really is. They're currently still ranked number 3 in the state. Rankings came out, and this week Newman is number 1, who, of course, the Falcons lost to in the semifinal game last year down at Newman, 1-0. Or actually, I think the final score was 2-0, but close game most of the game. Then number 2 was Parkview Baptist, who jumped all the way from about number 6 to number 2. And then, of course, Falcons in number 3, Pope John Paul number 4, and St. Louis Catholic number 5.
And Independence, although not ranked in the top 10, did get some votes, and they're probably 12th or 13th. So as exceptional as this parish is in high school football, the soccer program is starting to set a tradition of excellence.
Absolutely, and this district with Pope John Paul, with Independence, and with the Falcons have continually been very strong in the state. Last year, the Falcons and Pope John Paul and Independence all finished in the top 10, again with the Falcons and the Jaguars from Pope John Paul being the two leading teams. I think last year they finished 3rd and 4th in the state for the year.
Well, John, we just saw Nathan Hamilton work his magic out there. He has such control. He was right there amongst the Rebels, managed to get turned around on the ball and have a nice shot, took a shot. The goalie was in the right place, but that was excellent offensive maneuvering by Nathan Hamilton, and that's really what he brings to this team.
Absolutely. Chris Burns again on the corner kick, sends it straight across. A little low, and Rebels are able to get it out.
That was good teamwork on the defense. They kind of had him in the middle of a triangle, and they really worked that Rebel well. Picked his pocket.
You got it. Jock Smith making the final clear. Johnny Scalage trying to get the ball down to Chris Wong, and you could hear it. He just missed the kick a little bit, and it more went straight up. It's fun to watch Chris Wong out here this year with, this may sound kind of strange, but with hair.
Yes.
Because Chris has always kept his hair in a very short cut. And I told him the first time I saw him out there like that, I thought that Michael Chang had come down and joined the team, because the tennis professional has hair very similar to Chris, and Chris's build is very similar to Michael Chang's, and I thought we had them mixed up here. I was trying to go out and get his autograph, but wrote Chris Wong, and I said, well, this is even better.
We saw Johnny Scalage take a shot just a minute ago, and Johnny is another one of these young players that have been making a contribution to the team. Johnny's listed as being in the 10th grade, and he's going to be here for a little bit, and he really shows a good sense of field maturity.
He's right. He's come on this year very strongly. He was part of that group of freshmen that we had last year that just seemed to grow and mature as the year went on, and just unbelievable in that capacity for freshmen to do at that stage. And now they're sophomores, that extra year of being able to play, they've really been able to do well. Almost, Johnny hit a header, almost got to Carl, and the goalie just got in there.
That was a nice pass all the way from the sideline to right in front of the goal.
You can really see the effect the wind is having, Ron. The kicks that the goalie has been taking to get the ball out have not been making it but about halfway up the field. And then when the Falcons are turning around and trying to send it back down, it's just taken off. So the wind is really having quite of an effect on the front half. I'm glad we've got the wind with us, but we need to start to take advantage of it and put the ball in the back of the net. Still 0-0 here at Falcon Field. Falcons taking and hosting district play against the Rebels of Pearl River. Hamilton and Horgan over on the far side.
Strong kick by Daniel.
That was an attempt for a shot. It was a little bit off and didn't look as good as when it ended as it did when it started out. But the idea was very strong. Take an opportunity when you have it wide open, straight out the middle of the field.
Well, John, you know what's conspicuously absent in this game is whistles and cards, because the last two games that St. Thomas has been involved with had a plethora of whistles and cards. So it's kind of nice that we're settling down and just playing soccer here today.
Well, it is. I know there was an awful lot in the Independence game for both teams, and of course, Pearl River Pope John Paul being the
Oh,
and that's the
there we go.
one. Finally, the Falcons are able to get the bounce right, and Carl puts it in the back of the net. Goal for Gumpert. That should make about, I think we had 22 after last week, and then 3 more Wednesday night. That made 25, so that should be about his 26th of the year. I think Carl had, 24 last year. So I believe he's on track. I think somebody said he wanted to get 36 this year.
That's impressive, and I don't want to take anything away from Carl. He was there. He made the right shot, but that was a third shot at the goal that took place right there, and that's what the Falcons really need to do, is a follow-up off the ricochet and the bounce off, and they were right there, and they're pushing again.
Yeah, you saw how all three, Johnny Skalash, Nathan, and Tryon, and Carl, spread out. We're going down the field, and the ball just got stepped into the middle by the defender for Pearl River.
There's Nathan.
Keeper trying to get to the ball there through his own player. Very short kick, though it worked out because it went right to one of their players. Throw in for the Falcons.
Chris Wong to Daniel Evans, over to Samuel Macaluso. That's a pass to
Chris Burns.
Chris Burns.
Chris is doing real well today.
There you go. Tried to be a little too fancy with Daniel. And
Beautiful
right there
pass
to
into
Carl, and there it is. There's another one. That's 2.
That was a gorgeous, gorgeous play by the Falcons there. Daniel stole the ball, brought it up, then got the pass into Carl, and Carl was able to bury it in the back of the net. Just perfect, perfect shot.
For
the goalie leaning the wrong way.
For the TV fans that are going to tape this game, when you get to this point, do it in slow-mo, and you will see an excellent offensive passing attack by the St. Thomas Aquinas Falcons, and that's really what they had been missing in the beginning of the season. But they certainly are putting it together now when it's important around district play.
Exactly. Now we're starting down. We're halfway through district play. This is our 3rd game. We've got Pope John Paul again Wednesday, and then Independence next Saturday. And next Saturday's game against Independence will be in Strawberry Stadium under the lights again. It's not soccer under the lights, but it is going to be a soccer game under the lights. And
there should be a great crowd. The Independence fans are going to be there, and they're very enthusiastic and supportive of their team, and there's a real nice, healthy rivalry. And it's just good to see these players from Tangipahoa Parish get out on the field and play the quality of soccer that we can play here.
Absolutely. And of course, like you say, there's a little added incentive with Independence is that the Johnsons, who are the coaches for Independence, have had players that actually went to school at St. Thomas, and the last couple of years they've been playing against their dad, and I think this year finally they're going to be playing for their dad, and that adds a little extra excitement to it, and the players enjoy playing against each other that way.
Absolutely. Brandon Chan's back on the pass to Daniel. Jock Smith intercepting the ball, turning it around. We got a beautiful pass up the line. There we go.
Carl trying to pass it to Johnny Skalash and just can't quite get to it. Now we take advantage of the slip.
There's
Chris
Chris.
sends it across the middle.
Oh, everybody missed that one. Nathan's passing over to the corner, and there's a kick.
Oh, and right off the pole by Horgan. And then out of bounds over the end line. It'll be a goal kick for the Rebels. Boy, that was a nice play as they moved the ball around the side there, Ron.
That really was some good passing, and just another coat of, one less coat of paint, and that would have been another goal.
I believe so. Going to be another goal kick for the Rebels. Rebels got a trio of players getting ready to go in at the next opportunity. And a straight shot by Gumpert right at the keeper. But you noticed how Horgan was there to back him up, Ron.
That's right.
And that's what you were talking about a minute ago.
Get those ricochets, and because it happens so often, I can understand why the players think that there's kind of mentally and physically they put the brakes on, but it takes that added little bit of aggressiveness to keep going. And because the goalies aren't perfect except for most of the time, like Bobby Moore. And the offense is really pushing here for the last few minutes.
And again, Nathan tried to send the ball through the middle to Horgan, and just a little bit too strong with the wind behind him. Though the wind has dropped a little bit, I think, in intensity, the Falcons' attack hasn't, has it?
No, it hasn't. It's really picked up. We have, is Nathan coming off at this point?
I think he's meeting with the coach. While while Pearl River changes out some players. We've played 30 minutes of the first half almost, Ron. And score stands at 2-0. Falcons over the Rebels of Pearl River. District game. Falcons tied for the lead in the district, as we stated earlier, after tying Pope John Paul and then beating Independence Wednesday night. And Pope John Paul, of course, tied us and then beat Pearl River the other night. So both teams are together, and that's normally where they stand for district.
I'm glad to be here calling this game, but if I weren't here, I would like to be watching Independence and Pope John Paul, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I wish they could have been playing tonight or something where we could have all gone and watched. We'll put a plug in here, too, is that last night the...
Good shot. Oh, just a little high by Nathan.
Fine pass from Chris Wong across the middle there, and Nathan just got under it a little bit. The Falcons basketball team was at Pope John Paul last night, and even in all that weather, the girls' team lost by 2, but the boys' team was successful and won pretty handily, from what I understand, about 20 points, I think somebody said earlier, but it was really a good, strong game for the boys to play.
That's good. You know, it certainly seems like the Falcons are showing their team speed for this part of the game. Their footwork seems to be much better than the Rebels. The team speed, and certainly the St. Thomas Aquinas Falcon defense has been very impressive.
Yeah, I don't think the goalie's only touched it. Bobby's only touched it probably 2 times.
Look at that footwork by Brandon Shansback. That was just great. Here's 2-on-1 with Chris, and there's Daniel being right there. He just knew where that passing lane was and blocked it up.
Nathan sending the ball out far as You could see Carl letting him know, get it out to Oregon, out to the edge, and so we can bring it in.
One of the few whistles in the game.
There hadn't been many. That's the truth. We're running a two-man referee zone today, and as opposed to the three that we ran last week.
That was a good move up. That looks like a little bit of a tackle from the back by St. Thomas.
Rare foul in today's game. There hasn't been many of that kind of foul. Falcons, oh, they were set up, but Pearl River took a short.
That was Jacques Smith intercepting that pass, and a
long shot
long
to Carl.
pass to Carl. Oh, that was beautiful to Nathan Hamilton. Oh, just got by him a little bit. Good pickup, though. Good pickup.
That's where the wet field play took the other play.
Here's a shot coming. Oh, that was a very good play by number 1 for Pope John Paul. I'm sorry, for Pearl River Rebels.
We'll have their roster here in a second. Number 1.
Yeah, number 1. Let's call his name. Doug Gill. Excellent play.
Was able to stay with Carl and give the Falcons, however, a corner kick. Johnny Skalash on the far end getting ready to set the ball. Jock Smith has come all the way up to the line to try to help out. And the ball is headed up over the line, over the back.
So there's another corner kick here. Let's mention again, if we can, Garian Insurance, North Lake Insurance Group, one of our first half broadcast sponsors, and Jim Meyer Construction.
Well, I can't let you miss the third one, which
Okay,
of course
thank
is
you.
Ron Macaluso, attorney at law. Without these sponsors, folks, it really would be very tough for us to be able to bring these games to you. And St. Thomas truly appreciates all the efforts that these people do. And we ask you that when you get a chance, tell them thank you. Because we sure do.
Excellent interception by Carl Gumpert. Long kick by Daniel, way off that time. And I think he realizes that. 2 hands in the air and a little wave there.
I believe that was a frustration ending to that one there.
The field really looks good today, even though it has had a lot of rain recently. It's good to see the winter grass green.
It does look good out here, Ron, and I was commenting earlier before you got up here that from up here we can only see one wet area, which is right out here, just a little bitty puddle. And in the past, there have been just numerous puddles out here because as each year we've worked harder and harder to get the field, and the St. Thomas Aquinas coaches and team have worked, and parents, mostly parents I think, have been out here and redo this field each year, and it is finally built up to where you can almost walk all the way across it without getting wet in a driving rainstorm almost.
We have a corner kick, Chris Wong. And the goalie puts his hands on it and then is able to pick it up. So that was a good play by the goalie. For the fans that aren't necessarily big soccer followers, the big difference between a soccer field and a football field is that the soccer field is not supposed to have a crown. It's supposed to be flat, which makes the drainage, particularly in South Louisiana, that much more difficult. Here's Daniel. That was an offside. That was the first offside, I believe, the game.
That was a good try to get the ball down to Chris Wong in the corner, but as you said, Chris got a little bit too far forward, a little too quick that time.
Now, these are 40-minute halves, I believe, since it's district play, and we're probably somewhere in the 35, 38 minutes.
Absolutely. Got about 5 minutes left, I think, of the first half. Of course, we're unofficial by all means, but with as few whistles that there's been in this game and cards that we haven't had. So
And
we're probably pretty close.
And nobody's been hurt, thank goodness. There's Daniel intercepting the ball, but the Rebel got a foot on it.
Chris Burns playing a real fine game
strong
out there today.
Johnny Scalage taking a nice shot, and oh, that was quite a save, but that was a beautiful shot.
Very, very fine save by the keeper, put the ball over the top, and if you notice there again, there was a Falcon right behind him, and if he couldn't have gotten to it, we'd have had a header and another goal.
You know, John, it's really good to see that the Falcons are having many more different offensive players taking shots at the goal today. It's the most I've seen in the last month or so anyway, maybe this whole season. Oh, that was a nice header. Goalie was right there, though. And that's good, because I do think that if you're going to be successful in district play and postseason play, you've got to have more than just one excellent offensive player such as Carl.
Absolutely, and you know, it makes Carl even better when other people are able to score and take the shots, because then the defense has to back off of Carl and start to cover other folks, and that then allows Carl to get in there, and if they don't back off Carl, then the others will have straight shots. Another corner kick. We've got a little extra special halftime today. Also, we're going to have a interview during the as soon as the first half ends, we'll have a short interview with Dr. Roger Roldan. And Dr. Roldan has been very, very active in the St. Thomas Aquinas soccer program and sports programs over the years. His son, Roger Jr., who played for the Falcons for 4 years, was an all-state player last year, was also involved in cross-country and track, and was outstanding individual in that. So Dr. Roldan's been very, very involved in the St. Thomas programs here.
He's been a terrific benefactor and supporter of the program.
And is still, again, a sponsor for the game today, as we'll get into the second half.
That's some good ball handling going on right now, and a nice pass. Oh, look at that header.
Right to the goalie's right, just off to the side of him. He was able to get to it, but it was a real fine pass by Horgan, and perfect setup for Hamilton.
And not offsides, and that's a difficult play to pull off without being offsides, because Nathan was right in front of the goal.
Falcons are still trying to pump it in. Still scores only 2-0 though. There's been lots of opportunities. Goalie has made some real fine plays today. Falcon goalie looks to be a little restless down at the other end of the field there. He's just kind of standing around, and that's the way we like it.
Yeah, we hope Bobby Moore's not sleeping over there, but no, he's not. He looks like he wants to get in the offensive push.
Well, I hope maybe that if the Falcons can continue this type of drive in the second half, maybe he'll get a chance to come up and play a little bit toward the end of the second half. Goalies always like to come out and get a chance to score.
Little change on that corner kick. Instead of trying to kick it long into the front of the goal, that was more of a pass. So we saw a little difference in the Independence game, too. It looks like the Falcons were trying some different plays off the corner kick and off of kicks in front of the goal, and it was some success.
Yeah. Andrew Shalona coming in to relieve Daniel Evans. So Andrew will come in and play the last couple of minutes so that Daniel can get a breather and get a sip of water.
And Chris has moved over to take Daniel's spot.
Gumpert on the shot, but it bounces off the back of a 1 minute?
About 1 minute.
About 1 minute, according to our unofficial cameras up here. There's that Macalusa boy on the far side there with the ball.
Hope he doesn't fool with it too much. Pass it off now,
He's
Samuel.
doing real fine, looking good. Looking for a man, takes
Taking
a shot.
long shot. Oh, right off the
What
top.
a shot.
Strong kick.
Samuel took a good shot from out there. Nobody came to get him, so he just took it, and he was true and accurate. Just hit the top bar. There's that layer of paint again that you discussed earlier. First half action, and I'm going to read them out this time as we're winding down, has been brought to you by Garan Insurance, North Lake Insurance Group, Jim Meyer Construction, and by my pal Ron Macalusa, attorney at law. We appreciate all the efforts and success and the support of these sponsors and to Super Falcon Soccer.
Halftime's going to be sponsored too, John, but if I may mention it this time.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
By T-Bob Ranch, partners Porter Horgan and Clarence Zorn Jr., who raise top-quality Beefmaster cattle for breeding and or for sale, producing some of the finest registered Beefmaster cattle in America. That's T-Bob Ranch, partners Porter Horgan and Clarence Zorn Jr. Wouldn't mind having one of those steaks right now.
I guarantee. Falcons were able to move the ball around a little bit that time. Bobby actually got to touch it a couple times in the back.
That's halftime.
That's the end of the first half. First half action at Falcon Field brought to you by Garan Insurance, North Lake Insurance Group, Jim Meyer Construction, and Ron Macalusa, attorney at law. And the score at the end of the first half is the Falcons 2 and the Rebels of Pearl River 0. Now we'll take a quick break for a second and give Ron time to climb down from the platform and then get with Roger Roldan, one of the biggest supporters for the soccer program and athletics and St. Thomas in general, for a few minutes.
Dr. Roger Roldan, we're here at halftime between St. Thomas Aquinas Falcons and the Pearl River Rebels. And first of all, on behalf of St. Thomas and the St. Thomas family, which you're a part of, we do want to thank you for all the great support that you've given this team, as well as the fact that your son played for St. Thomas last year, which was a very impressive year for St. Thomas. What is the thing on reflection about last year that you remember the most and get the most enjoyment from?
Well, I think the main fact was how far we came over several years. You know, I mean, soccer historically at St. Thomas was the first and only sport that was here in 1986 when we started. And we went from a group of kids, some of which were in elementary school playing in the high school level, to last year where we were finally recognized on a state level as being one of the better teams in the state. I think that was the biggest thing, that from 4 years ago when Roger was a freshman to last year when he was a senior, they progressed so much further. And then the whole team and the sports department in general at St. Thomas has been following that same pattern over the last several years.
Well, for all the fans of soccer of St. Thomas this year and last year, why don't you bring us up to date where Roger is and how he's doing?
Right now he's at Southeastern, a freshman. He played for the Southeastern club team in the fall, but right now he's dedicating most of his time to coaching. He's working on his license. He got his E license, working on his D, and is coaching over in the local rec team right now, or actually a select team, a 13-year-old select team. So he's continuing on in the coaching level because he can't be out here. He's dying. He comes to all the games. He wants to play, but instead he's doing some coaching.
What's he studying?
He's in pre-med right now. We'll see.
Well, that's terrific. And Roger is just one of the many alumni from St. Thomas that have gone on to college and have done well in their professional lives. And although we have a good soccer team and cross-country team and football team did well this past season, and a number of other sports are doing well, the real strength then at St. Thomas is not the athletics, but is the academics.
That's exactly correct. I mean, Roger certainly enjoyed all the kids here enjoy the athletic parts of it, but I think the academics is what gets them on past it. They all realize that most of the time their athletic career is strictly something to keep them going during their active high school years, but after that they have to go to college and make a living, and I think St. Thomas truly reflects a school that can prepare them for the future.
Well, let me just ask you this. What do you think is the biggest difference between this year's Super Falcon soccer team as compared to last year's?
We really have, I don't think we have as much speed as there was last year, but I think we have better technique. We're fortunate to get a real good coach in Juan Planels this year, who is one of the few A-licensed coaches around, and he has really taught them some techniques, and their practices have shown some stuff that they're not used to practicing the techniques, but that's what they're learning this year. Their techniques are better. They're a young team, and it takes a longer time to get that going. So I think sometimes we look like we're struggling, but we're doing the right things, just not executing. And I think as the hopefully as the district goes on and as the playoffs goes on, our execution will catch up with our techniques.
Well, since we're memorializing this conversation, I'm going to put you in a tough spot. What's your prediction for this year's Super Falcon team? How far are they going to get?
I think they can go as far as they want. They've got about 4 to 6 teams in this state, in our division, that could really beat anybody else in any given day. There's Newman, St. Louis Catholic. We have 3 teams in our division: Pope John Paul, St. Thomas, and Independence, that I think can take turns beating each other. They're very equal. And then there's Parkview Baptist out of Baton Rouge, which we played earlier this year. We tied 2-2, who many predict is going to be the Cinderella story for this year. So I think out of that, and it depends on how things go in the playoffs. District championship would be nice, but going past what we did last year in the playoffs is what we want to do. And if we can get past that semifinals and the finals, that'll be a big step.
Well, for all the soccer fans out there that support St. Thomas Aquinas Super Falcon soccer, as well as soccer in Tangipahoa Parish, Dr. Roger Roldan, we thank you.
Thank you.
This is Ron Macalusa at halftime, and invite you to stay with us for the second half of the St. Thomas Aquinas Super Falcon soccer game against the Pearl River Rebels, and the Falcons are leading 2-0.
Out of the box, since he only touched the ball about 3 times the first half, and to put him in up front, let him do a little running and keep him in shape, and move Johnny Skalash back to be the goalie. The 3 of the seniors on the team, Carl Gumpert, Bobby Moore, and Daniel Evans, all in the game right now. And Andrew Shalona, who got in right at the end of the first half, will be back in shortly. Corner kick for the Falcons. A little confusion originally, but called a corner kick. Chris Burns, Tryon Horgan with the ball. Falcons doing a good job of getting back on defense. Horgan with the ball, sends the ball through the middle to Nathan Hamilton, who then loses the ball to the Rebels, who then cleared out up the middle. Falcons again trying to pick up where they left off at the first half with plenty of offensive power and push. Falcons had an attempt there, but the keeper again made a nice stop, and then the defense was back to help clear the ball out. Falcons are going to set up again. Offsides called on Gumpert as Moore tried to pass the ball forward to him, and just a little bit too much, and Carl got out in front. Second half action being brought to you by Evans Carpet Depot, by Roger Roldan and North Oaks Pediatrics, and Rolling and Perilou, attorneys at law. And now my partner's back, all warm, and I think he's got 2 or 3 more layers on to stand up here.
And it does feel better.
Oh,
there's a shot.
Hey, if you're going to bring this, Ron, I'm going to send you back downstairs here.
Go back down. That was a breakdown in the defense there.
Big breakdown on defense for the Falcons there as they gave up a quick goal to the Rebels. That's the really only first attack that the Rebels have had all day long, and just sort of slipped in there, and everybody was kind of standing flat-footed.
Well, this is a game again, 2-1.
2-1 for St. Thomas is still on top, but I think the Falcons going to have to change their tune here.
That's not the way to start the second half.
Johnny Skalash comes over and gets it, and then tries to good pass out. Heard Chris Wong call to Nathan there, and had a good wide open shot across. Hold against Pearl River.
Let me take this opportunity to thank again Porter Horgan and Clarence Zahn Jr. Who sponsored the halftime for T-Bob Ranch. They raise top quality Beefmaster cattle for breeding and for sale, producing some of the finest registered Beefmaster cattle in America. So thanks to Porter and Clarence and T-Bob Ranch. And look at that.
There's Daniel.
There it goes. That's how you make it back again. I need to say T-Bob a couple more times.
Keep that up. Keep that up. That was a fine pass. A good play from Chris Wong to start the pass. Moved it over to Daniel Evans, who took a curling shot at the goal, and was a perfect shot right in the back of the net. That makes the score now 3-1, and Chris Burns is coming out, number 4, and again, the other senior, Andrew Shalona, is now in the game on the far side, playing a little fullback.
Let's see, we got Bobby Moore playing forward. 0-0.
I think the Pearl River is putting on a little stronger effort here in this beginning of the second half. That
Not
that
0-0.
opportunity was perfect. Moore tried to get it out to Horgan on the outside, just a little too far again.
So who do we have playing goalie then?
Johnny Skalash.
Okay.
I saw him warming up while you were
Warming up myself.
Yes, when you and Dr. Roldan were visiting at halftime. Sure was nice to have Dr. Roldan join us for part of the broadcast today.
Absolutely. It's always good to have a doctor on the sidelines too. For parents such as yourself and me and our wives and other parents, it's always good to have a doctor around when your kid's out on the field. Look at that. That was really nice.
Well, that was a fine pass from Nathan Hamilton to get the assist on that goal to Carl Gumpert, who put it in the edge of the net. I thought that ball was going to go past Carl at first, but just sort of seemed to slow down a little bit, that wind blowing across like that, and he was able to flick it with his foot and put it in the back.
Well, the Rebels came out and scored a goal, and they were really excited, but the Falcons have answered with 2 quick ones themselves. And here we are now, 4-1. Jacques Smith with his quick feet, clearing the ball. Nathan Hamilton and a nice pass, perhaps offside, but no, to Carl.
Falcons are doing a good job of moving the ball around and passing it all the way across the field. I think that was a little on the outside there. Chris couldn't quite get to it in time.
Well, who was playing goalie when the Rebels scored just now? I didn't notice. Was that Bobby or
No, Johnny Skalash. He's been in the whole second half.
Okay.
Bobby started up front with Carl.
And by saying that, I certainly don't suggest that was the goalie's fault that on the Rebels play. They had too many white shirts just sitting flat-footed in front of the goal on that one. That was a nice try by Chris Wong running in.
Good passes. Moore took the ball down low, then brought it back out, and Chris Wong just got a little underneath it and put it a little high and over the back of the box.
Well, I know he's taken 2 shots, perhaps more. Both of them have, that I recall, have been high. So all Chris needs to do is, I know he's probably going for the top part of the net, but he just needs to keep his head down a little bit longer.
It's fun when you think about Chris knocking it over the back like that. His dad, John Wong, who has been very instrumental in the soccer program here and in coaching STISA teams and all. We were coaching together one day in Houston, and John was telling him, because all of our players were kicking the ball over the top of the goal, and he said, now you got to kick it low, and then who's the one kicking the ball over the top? Poor Chris. So you know tonight when he gets home, who's going to have a little say-so to Chris about where to kick the ball.
Well, it was good to see that Daniel scored the goal, particularly since one of our second-half sponsors is Evans Carpet Depot, Dave and Dee Dee Evans, who just opened up their new business in Hammond and University Drive between Southeastern and I-55, although they've been in business many years.
Absolutely.
And they do excellent work, and I'm glad to say and proud to say that I'm a customer of theirs and would encourage others to go and do business with Dave and Dee Dee. They just know they're good business people and they know how to treat your customers.
Absolutely. We are also customers and have been treated very well. And they're good people.
Absolutely.
They're just good people. Now, Johnny can't touch it until it crosses that line. When you're not used to playing goalie, sometimes you got to remember where I can and can't touch the ball when you're not used to it.
As Chris Wong, number one, using his height advantage at a header in that situation. Trying, excellent control, excellent control. That was a good idea. The ball curved to the right. I think he probably wanted it to go more straight or perhaps to the left, but it's good to see all of these offensive shots scattered around the front of the Falcons' offense. Here's Bobby going. Got a little thick of traffic there. Sure would be nice to see Bobby score one.
Well, as I said earlier, it's always fun for the goalie to get a chance to go up front and get a chance and an opportunity to try to score. So often they're at the other end of the game and don't get an opportunity like that.
Number 19, Stephen Sanji's on the sideline, waiting for an opportunity to come in.
Falcons doing a fine job of moving the ball around. Oh, fine pass. Can Carl get to it?
There it is.
And he
All
did.
right. Excellent. Carl Gumpert. That's got to be at least 3, maybe 4 for Carl. And I would guess Samuel might get the assist on that one.
Absolutely. It was a fine, fine pass. And Samuel just brought it up and brought it up and brought it up until finally he was able to send it through the middle, and Carl had to fight a little for it, but that's what he's getting better and better at each time he plays.
Well, Stephen Sanji is going in for Tryon Horgan. Number 19, Stephen. Daryl Smith and I were talking about this under the Soccer Under the Lights game, and when St. Thomas calls a player from the bench to put on the field, the quality of the play changes very little, if any, at all. I mean, the quality of the only reason we have a bench is you can only play 11 people at one time. For the most part, these players are interchangeable in their skill and their ability. It's just a shame they all can't play all the time.
That's correct. That's correct. And that's what builds your program. Josh Woody going in the game, number 10, relieving Nathan Hamilton. Give him a little break, a little chance to sit and rest a second. Josh has really played very well the last few games also, and has been very, very, very big impetus in, especially in the John Paul game the other day. He was really, really pumping out there.
And Josh has a lot of flexibility as a player, too. It's just as likely to see Josh play goalie as he is to be playing in the midfield or in the front.
Yeah, I thought a couple years ago that he might be the next goalie, but in truth, they're better off with a younger player, as Bobby is a senior this year, and give somebody an extra chance to get in some playing time.
Strong play by Daniel Evans. Wasn't it, Daniel? No, that was Steven. Sorry. That's my eyes, folks. Steven played really strong, went right for the Rebel with the ball and was able to turn the pass around. Shansbach needs my glasses on that swing and a miss.
I think he did that on purpose so Daniel could have a chance to get to the ball over there and get a little extra playing time, you see. The Falcons are still playing, trying some different things right now with a 5-1 lead.
Chris Wong driving the ball, passing it up.
Sanji.
Steven, look at that. Oh, just off a little bit. That was a good shot, Steven.
If Steven could have gotten his normal power behind that one, it would have probably gone through the back of the net. He's very, very strong leg when he gets up, and he's up in front and close like that. It's a big piece of power coming through.
Well, Steven is one of those players that has a deceiving speed. He is fast, and he is big. He's built like a middle linebacker out there, and he moves well, and he's a smart player. He's the type of athlete here at St. Thomas that you just find so many of.
Absolutely.
Good student, good athlete, good person, comes from a good family. Mostly his mom. Chip gets a little bit of the credit, I guess.
We'll give Jan most of it this time, right? Chris Wong singing one way out to Carl Gumpert. And Andrew Shalona on the far side trying to get it back for the Falcons.
A nearly perfect game for the Falcons today. Just one goal scored on them. Oh, no whistle on that one?
I think that was just, I think the two of them just ran into each other. Uh-oh, now. All right, Brandon Shansbach pulls that one, gets it back up.
Good defense, good defense.
Thought they'd let number 15 slip behind him, but as it turned out, Brandon had it well under control.
Carl controlling the ball, passing it into the middle. Steven taking a shot or a pass. That was, I think, a pass.
I think it was a pass, and you could see how the wind just, I mean, it almost stopped it. It was almost fell back into play, and Carl kept going after it, which is, again, a sign of a good, strong team when they continue to go after the balls. Don't think that the ball's going out. Keep working on it. Keep working on it.
John, these players in this position is the first time I've seen that this season. Bobby playing as much as he can play certainly is a tribute to our defense and the number of goals. And there's a goal right there.
Hey!
And that was Bobby Moore.
Look at the flag lady on the far side. You think she knows who that scored?
That's a proud mama. Terrific. Way to go, Bobby. Well, it may be different, but it's still potent.
Well, this, unfortunately, the Rebels are a little outmanned today. The Falcons came to play, and they've scored now, 6 goals, I believe, in this game, and 5 the other night. So in the last 2 games, they've put some balls in the back of the net. And that's good. Again, we've got a good variety of people scoring.
There's Josh Whitty. That's a strong play. Strong play. Oh, good foot, Steven. Bobby Moore controlling it, getting it over to the middle. And here goes Chris Wong. Takes a good shot at it, but just doesn't
missed
make it
that one
there.
a little bit, I believe.
Good thinking, though. He was there. I see Vanessa Wong warming up on the sidelines, waiting her turn to get in.
Frank DiVittorio also
And Frank.
getting ready.
So even with the good news for LSU football about Josh Booty perhaps coming to play quarterback, being able to throw the ball to Abram Booty, we want to let everybody know at St. Thomas, siblings on the field is something we already have with the Wongs.
Absolutely. We've had several cases of it.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, Daniel's brother Aaron was a very main player on the Falcons team.
Oh, there's another one. Is that Bobby?
Oh, that was a beautiful play. Carl brought it back out as you saw on TV and passed it to Bobby Moore, who was standing right in front of the goal, and he just buried it in the back. Here comes Frank and Vanessa coming into the game. Vanessa, it's so much fun to watch her play. She's a freshman, strong young lady playing, but her hands don't reach out the ends of her sleeves, and you always wonder where her hands are.
Well, for the people that watch soccer, you know, it's supposed to be a non-contact sport, but you saw the hit that Josh Whitty took a while ago. It takes a lot of courage for someone like Vanessa to get on the field and play with the size that these young men are.
Absolutely, and especially when she's the only little girl out there with all those boys.
Oh, look at that. That was a beautiful pass by Bobby, and Carl was just right there, missed it just by a head.
Well, I was going to say, he must have got a haircut yesterday because that's the one that missed it, because otherwise he was right there.
Vanessa making a nice stop and pass to Bobby. Over to Samuel Macaluso, who makes a pass up again. One touch. And that was a good tackle.
Whistle on the play. I thought they were going to call it on Bobby, truthfully.
I thought it should have been Bobby's, but we'll take it.
I thought Bobby tackled him, but we'll give him.
The refs are having so few of those today, you can't hardly blame them for not getting them all right, I guess.
Jock sent a good shot way out to Frank DiVittorio, and the goalie just did get out there to get to it. Boy, all the Falcons are in this game today, Ron. I mean, they're all playing hard. They're all getting good movement, keeping the ball going around in all different locations. Shot toward
Vanessa, go, Vanessa, go, Vanessa. Yeah! All right! That's terrific.
Oh, we're a little excited up here too, fans.
Sorry, fans, if we yelled in your ear, but that was tremendous.
That was a beautiful play and follow by Vanessa.
And that was no gimme, folks. She earned that one.
Years ago, we played a game in Costa Rica with our other son, Brooks, who was playing on a team that went down to Costa Rica and Honduras and played. And one of the players on the team was one of the boys' sister, who was 2 years older than we were, and eventually ended up at North Carolina on their national championship team. And she scored against the Honduran team, and you wouldn't have believed these guys they just absolutely couldn't take having a young lady score, because they don't have that down there. They don't have the females playing like they do here. And but she earned the game ball. They gave it to her afterwards. They were just fascinated with her. And Vanessa is right in Missy's mold. I mean, she is a dynamite package right there.
And there's another ricochet in. And that was Vanessa? Terrific.
Assist to Carl Gumpert on that one. As it came across, Vanessa was able to get her foot on it and put it in the back of the net again.
Well, you got to feel a little sorry for Pearl River Rebels coming over here to play the Falcons, who are obviously a cut above, but also playing an excellent game. So all of the factors that go together of putting a good game on are happening today for the Falcons, and their victims today are the Pearl River Rebels.
I think, looking at my clock, I think we've played about 23 minutes of this half here. And, you know, we were talking earlier, you would think maybe that coach would sort of call off the dogs, as they say, but as you said, when you call off one and you put one in, look, you didn't lose anything. So it's not like you're running up the score or anything like that. Everybody is just playing, and all the bench is getting an opportunity to make it in at that age.
And as the fans have seen, the players that don't start are equally as good as those that do.
They're doing excellent today. Take a break here and let's talk about our sponsors here as Pearl River's getting ready to throw the ball in. I think they're going to have a substitution, number 21, standing down in front of us. But second half action today, Brian, being brought to us by Evans Carpet Depot. Dave and Dee Dee Evans provide a full line of quality residential and business flooring, including carpet, vinyl, ceramic tile, and wood. They offer the largest stock in Tangipahoa Parish and have outlet prices with complete installation.
And another goal.
Another goal for Carl Gumpert. That's got to be at least 4 for him today, I think.
4 or 5.
We've lost count up here. Dave and Dee Dee, Evans Carpet Depot. Roger Roldan and North Oaks Pediatrics, Doctors Roldan, Westmoreland, Loomis, Donner, and Tran, all board-certified pediatricians serving the children of the Florida parishes. And Rolling and Perilou, attorneys at law. Mark Rolling, Scott Perilou, and Scott Sledge practice all types of legal work, including personal injury, real estate, commercial litigation, wills and estates, and family law, with offices at 900 Thomas Street in Hammond.
And we certainly would like to tell you how much we appreciate your support of this fine program.
Falcons are just moving the ball with ease out here today. That shows you the efforts that they put in practice and the abilities that Coach Planels has worked with his assistants.
Strong shot by Stephen Sanji. That was offsides.
See the baseball team practicing in the backside.
Well, we've got a tough week of soccer in front of the Falcons, and I sure would like to be able to put a couple of these goals in our back pocket because I think we're going to need them. We've got to play Pope John Paul. That's going to be a Wednesday game. Oh, and the goalie has one off of the knees into the goal. And that's a Bobby Moore shot, I believe.
Bobby will get the credit for it, even though the poor goalie came over, was right in the right spot, but Bobby just shot it hard against his knee, and it just went directly into the back of the box. Pearl River's trying to, the goalie wants to come out for a while.
I don't blame him.
They're down there, I think, smiling and laughing, saying, he's hurt, he's hurt. I know when you're sitting down there getting shot like he is right now, it's not a lot of fun.
No, it's not. I think at this point in time, even a chain-link fence across the goal might not stop St. Thomas from scoring more goals. They are fired up, and everything is working in their favor. And although they're earning it, the pieces are just falling right for them today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a shame that Pearl River are good kids, and you know, this you hate to just keep piling it on in a manner of sense, but again, like we said earlier, they're not really just piling it up, they're just playing hard, and it's going the right way.
Well, John, you've had 3 sons play soccer, is that correct? Bobby's the youngest?
Bobby's the youngest.
And I've had 2, and believe me, I think we both can say we've been on the sidelines when our kids were playing for teams that find themselves at the short end of the stick like the Rebels. And it's not fun. You just got to tell them that you learn more from losing sometimes about your own character and your teammates' character than you do from winning. Anybody can enjoy a win. It takes real courage and character to come out of a loss and say, tomorrow we're going to do better.
And keep trying. And Pearl River hasn't quit. They're still working at it. They're still working the ball down the field as hard as they can. And it's just, today they're just not in the same game.
And I just hope when the soccer fans read about this game in the paper and they see the score, that they don't accuse or infer or believe that St. Thomas intentionally tried to run up the score. I don't know what else the coach can do other than to play with half a team. Maybe they ought to put us out on the field.
Hey, we could handle that. We'll go out there, let them come up here and film, right?
I'll be warmer.
That's it. That's it. The Falcons are still playing hard, working the ball, continuing to move the ball. There's Samuel up in the middle, shot across to Vanessa. And
kicked it out.
Pearl River just trying to clear the ball out, so they kick it out.
And with some frustration, I'm sure they'd like to kick it way into the woods with the clock running.
With the clock running. It's got running time out here. Yep, I wish we could save some of these goals for the game Wednesday against Pope John Paul. We'll be playing at Pope John Paul, and depending on how they've done against Independence today, it could be for all the marbles again, as the two of them currently are tied for the district champions lead.
And I think last season we had to have a playoff game to determine who the district champ was.
That's correct.
Or how the seeding was going to take place, actually. I think they tied. And that's another goal by Carl.
Goal for Carl Gumpert again. The goalie was just about to catch the ball when Carl beat him to it, and he just put it in the back of the net. But he'll come out now and sit for the rest of the game, I suspect. And I think Samuel's going back in to go up front. Quite a few changes in the Falcons team right now. Jacques out. Tryon Horgan is out. Nathan Hamilton is out. I think Josh Woody's back on the bench.
Little frustration on the part of the Rebels, and you can't blame them. Stephen Sanji with the ball. Pass over to Chris Wong. Driving up the field. Look at that move. Stephen Sanji wants one today too.
He does. That would have been good for 3 if we, if we were in a different game, but it doesn't count in this game. So,
John, I've lost track of the score.
I have too.
It's 10 or 11.
It's way up there, and I think it's better that we don't know the score right now.
Probably so.
We know the Falcons are well in the lead, and but look at this now. The Rebels haven't given up, and Bobby Moore ran in there to help out the keeper. That sounds funny, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I think Frank DiVittorius made that assist for that last goal. I certainly don't want that to get biased.
Absolutely. And Frank's played a heck of a game since he's come in the second half. Out to Vanessa from Bobby.
Nice pass.
Andrew Shalona out there with the ball right now. It's good to see Andrew playing again, Ron. You know, he started as a freshman and was very, very strong with his skills and was able to pass the ball on a dime, it seemed like. He was really, really strong. And then had a couple of injuries. And he's missed really most of the last 2 years with injuries, but he's never given up on the team, and it's great to see Andrew able to be out here and really be able to be a member of the team and be productive in the games. He's done real, real good. He's still kind of playing himself into shape in a sense, just like Daniel, because he hasn't played in 2 years. And he could, at one point, he could hardly run or walk even, and I didn't think that he'd ever get a chance to play again. So it's great to see Andrew back out on the field. Brandon Shansback originally played basketball, if you recall, his freshman year.
Correct.
And then after a year on basketball, decided to come back out and join the soccer team, and has been an integral part of the defense for the last 2 years for the Falcons.
And a lot of these young men have played together in the Sticer Rebels.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Bobby and Brandon and
all
Samuel
of them are still playing in different areas of STISA or select league play throughout the state.
Uh-oh, there's Vanessa. She may have an opportunity here.
Well,
No.
The goalie was way out. It would have been an opportunity if they could have. All they had to do was kick the ball toward the goal. You see that sometimes in hockey, I think it is, that the goalie will come out when they're down real bad and they don't have a chance and they're trying to score to send everybody up forward. And all you got to do then is get a ball past them, or the puck past them. And I remember watching the game in the Pearl River tournament that when we lost 1-0 and getting there late and seeing Bobby coming up front to do the same thing, and he was trying to get up front and give every bit of help he could to the team, but it does leave the box open if somehow they turn the ball the other way. We were fortunate they didn't. We still lost 1-0, but one of the few losses that the Falcons have had this year. Chris tried to pass it in. We almost had our 2 longs there.
That's right. As Bobby makes a good stop. Pass over to Steven. He lets it go by to Daniel. Well, on a cold day, the Falcons have been hot.
They got it going now, I'll tell you. We talked about it. It was kind of a little slow at the beginning, but they put it in overdrive here in the second half. And as we said, I think Pearl River has kind of lost most of the desire, and they're still going through a lot of the motions out there, but there's lots of concern and grumbling on the team as frustration is sitting in strong. Falcons going to get a corner kick out of this.
Yes, indeed.
Second half action being brought to us by Rolling and Farrelou, attorneys at law, by Roger Roldan and North Oak Pediatrics, and Evans Carpet Depot here at Falcon Field. The Falcons up by quite a few, 10 or 11 to 1.
With about 4 or 5 minutes left to play. Long shot, strong shot.
Right to him, though, unfortunately. If he'd have been a little bit off to the side, maybe that'd have been another goal for more, but... And they're going to call the game.
That's timely. And we thank you.
Falcons will again play on Wednesday night at Pope John Paul for a district game, and then back at Strawberry Stadium Saturday night against Independence. So for my pal Ron and For me, John Moore, it's been a pleasure having you, and we'll see you next week.